I modified Pokémon Platinum to make literally everything in the game completely random. This means that not only are the Pokémon random, but so are their types, moves, abilities, and base stats. Not only that, but warps have also been completely randomized. My goal is to beat all 8 gyms and the Elite Four in order. Let's see if I can do it. After naming myself 6, we had a run-in with the crazy guy down the street and then left home to go get our starter Pokemon. After mashing through Professor Rowan's 30-minute monologue, we were able to choose our starter for the run. The starters were Porygon Z, Zigzagoon, and Weezing. It honestly probably didn't matter which one I picked since everything is completely random anyway, but I went with Porygon Z since I like it the best. This was probably the correct choice given that I one-shot Barry's Zigzagoon with Mega Drain, and after looking more closely at its moves and stats after the battle, it was clear that this thing would be an absolute monster. At level 5, it already had an insane special attack stat of 23, the ability Adaptability, which powers up moves of the same type, and had Mega Drain, a flying stab special attack with 80 base power and 100% accuracy. But would this be enough to get us through the run? In my past experience with runs like this, it was always very difficult to make it anywhere, since it was impossible to predict what type other Pokemon were and what moves they had. However, the game's AI already knows all of this information, making it very easy for them to always select the super effective move. I knew that despite our insane starter Pokemon, this challenge was not going to be friendly, especially with the random warps thrown in the mix. After getting our starter Pokemon and kicking Barry's ass, I headed to Sanjum Town to get lectured by Professor Rowan and then walked into the Pokemart to start my search for gyms and the Elite Four. After wandering around for a bit, I came across the first member of the Elite Four. Aside from making myself look like an idiot in front of one of the strongest trainers in the region, finding that room was a huge win. The gym leaders and Elite Four could literally be anywhere, so finding them quickly will mean less searching later on. After discovering the location of the first member of the Elite Four, it occurred to me that this challenge might actually be impossible, depending on how the warps were randomized. Since there is only one door to each gym and the champion, it is possible that they could be randomly paired with other one-warp areas, making it impossible to get to either of them. Additionally, it didn't occur to me until I started looking around just how many warp zones there are in this game. If I miss checking even one warp, that could be the difference between completing the run and thinking that the challenge is impossible. After finding our first Pokemon Center, I went downstairs to find the first gym. Rourke was already at the gym, meaning I didn't need to find the Orberg mine to first bring him back. This was huge because it meant that other story elements were able to be ignored completely, and I could instead focus on finding gyms and the Elite Four rather than running around and trying to complete the story first. After finding the first gym, I almost immediately found another 2 members of the Elite Four, one after the other. Once again, they absolutely obliterated my poor Porygon Z, but it was worth it to know where they're located. I then accidentally wandered into the 5th gym after healing my Pokemon at the Pokemon Center. Since this gym contains warps inside of it, I checked to see whether those were random as well, and as it turns out, they were not. This means that I wouldn't have to search for the correct piece of each gym, and could rather just search for the whole gym itself, which is honestly probably a good thing and would have driven me crazy otherwise. With this newfound knowledge, I continued my search for the remaining gyms and Elite Four members. I managed to softlock myself in this area since I did not have a bike and couldn't get back to the area that I came from. I ended up needing to reset in order to free myself, something that would happen a lot in this run. I was having a bit of difficulty finding gyms, so I just decided to go ahead and beat the first gym since I knew where it was. Using my Porygon Z and my newly caught Spiritomb, I was able to take down Rourke easily. I found the 7th gym not long after, but then it took me almost a whole hour to find anything else after that. After this painful search, we also managed to find Cynthia, meaning we now only needed to find the 2nd member of the Elite Four and the rest of the gyms. So far, the randomized typings and base stats haven't really been too much of an issue. Sure, I've lost a few battles here and there, but that was mainly due to being significantly under-leveled rather than due to my Pokemon's typing. However, I think this is partially due to my Porygon Z's crazy base stats, since my Spiritomb faints in almost one hit every time despite being at the same level. Half an hour and 2 softlocks later, I was still having no luck with finding the remaining trainers. I then had an idea that could potentially softlock me if I wasn't careful. See, I had previously found a way to get to the fight area, which has a ship that goes to and from Snowpoint City, someplace I had not been to yet. However, I hadn't yet beaten Cynthia, meaning if I rode the ship to Snowpoint City, it would be one wayed since I would not be able to return to the fight area. If there were no warps that took me to another city, I would be softlocked. I saved my game and rode the ship over to Snowpoint City. In Snowpoint City, I actually managed to find one of the missing gyms. The third gym was sitting just inside the Snowpoint Pokemon Center. This was both an amazing find and a huge issue. Like I said before, if I couldn't find a way out of Snowpoint City, I would be softlocked, meaning that the challenge would end after the third gym since I wouldn't be able to return to defeat the other required trainers. Fortunately, I found a way to get to Canalave City, which had a direct route back to Orberg City. Since I've been in Orberg before, the run could go on. Shortly after finding the final member of the Elite Four in Canalave City, I came across Sunyshore City, a city I hadn't been to yet. I was very unlucky as the way I got into Sunyshore City was through the gym, which is blocked by Flint. Since Flint refuses to move until we find Faulkner and tell him to go back, this would be another potential softlock if I could not find a route to another city. Unfortunately, I was unable to actually find a way out of Sunyshore City, meaning that if I hadn't saved before warping into the city, I would have been permanently softlocked. What's even worse about this situation is that I found the second gym hiding inside of a house in Sunyshore City. I can't leave the city, so how am I supposed to beat the second gym and continue the run? It was seeming like the run was going to come to an end here. Well, I did have one idea that I knew would work as long as I was smart about it. If I entered a Pokemon Center outside of Sunyshore City and then defeated the gym, I could warp back to that Pokemon Center by losing a battle to another trainer. Fortunately, I found some other trainers to lose to, and after beating the second gym leader, managed to escape this sunny prison. Now that the second gym was complete, I just needed to find the 4th, 6th, and 8th gyms, and then I would know where every gym leader and Elite Four member was. I found the 8th gym shortly after in the cave just east of Eterna City, but the 4th and 8th gyms were nowhere to be found. I had been to every place I could possibly think of and didn't know where else to check. I took a break after this because I was getting frustrated by not being able to find the last 2 gyms. After I returned, I decided to go ahead and just beat the third gym to help level up my Pokemon a bit. I knew there were a few areas I still could check, but was unable to due to having to battle higher level Pokemon and trainers. The odds of one of the gyms being in one of these areas was slim, but I had no other options. One of the places I still needed to check was the left side of Canalave City. This area is blocked by a battle with Barry who has Pokemon over level 30. I figured after I beat the third gym that my Porygon Z would be high enough level to take them out. After beating Barry, I checked some of the warps on the left side of the city. Yes, let's go, this is the 4th gym. Okay, awesome, perfect. Now we just need to find the 6th gym. After finding the 4th gym, I realized that since I have the 3rd gym badge, I can now use Fly to get around rather than trying to retrace my steps through warps. I taught Fly to my Slowpoke, and let me tell you, this was so much easier than running around. After searching for a bit, I realized there was an obvious place I hadn't yet checked. I completely forgot that there was a flower shop on the route just above Salacion Town. After flying there, I made my way up to the shop. Yes, let's go! Oh my god! Alright, that's all the gyms. That's every gym. That's every gym, and we know where every Elite Four member is. All that was left to do now was to go through and beat the rest of the gym leaders and the Elite Four. Surprisingly, this was super easy, since I was able to heal after every battle. When you battle the Elite Four, you are locked in and are unable to go to a Pokemon Center to heal in between battles. Because the warps were randomized, I got a break in between each battle and was able to heal. I demolished all of the gyms and the entire Elite Four using just my Porygon Z, my absolute beast of a starter Pokemon. And that was it. I had done it. I set out to beat all 8 gyms and the Elite Four in order, and that's exactly what I did. Despite literally everything being completely random, it was still possible to complete the challenge. I definitely think I got lucky, because depending on how the warps are randomized, this challenge could be impossible. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot and you can always change your mind later. If there's a particular challenge you'd like to see in the future, leave a comment down below. I typically play Pokemon and Mario games, but I'm open to new ideas. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.